welcome back to me and ADHD podcast. This is episode 13. And today I've got a good friend of mine, April, and we're going to have a little chat about some of the things that April is going through and her thoughts about the possibilities of having ADHD and her thoughts behind everything. So, welcome, April.
Good.
How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you very much. Now, we've talked before in the past about the possibilities and your thoughts. So tell us, how long have you been thinking that there is a possibility, and how long have you had the hurdles in your life?
The hurdles have been lifelong, going right back to like kindergarten and even before kindergarten, I guess. But it's been probably the last 5 years that I've really started thinking that could be what I'm dealing with. I know all through school, like none of my report cards ever came back with anything more than a satisfactory. Like I was just barely skimming by, no matter how hard I tried on anything.
Yeah.
So it was just, there's always been something. I don't know if you'd say holding me back, but there's been something there that I felt it was different.
Okay. So what sort of things have you been feeling?
Like now, just a lot of brain fog and memory issues and focus issues are huge. I can't stay focused on anything. I never watch TV because I cannot stay focused more than like 5 or 10 minutes. I can't spend that much time. I can't read a book. You mentioned that in one of your podcasts recently about not being able to read a book. I remember as a child, probably up to about grade 3, I read everything in the whole school. I read I guess it was hyper focused actually, because I read every book in the school at grade 3 up to a grade 8 level. And now, in the past, 10, 15 years, I cannot read a book. I cannot get through a paragraph that I lose attention or focus or retaining what I've read. So I don't know what else it would be. It's just, I'm starting to realize that there is a lot of similarities, I guess, with the ADHD. So.
Okay. How does that make you feel within yourself when you feel you can't read a book? I mean, I know you can read, but you can't get through a book because of the focus.
It's frustrating because at one point I wanted to go back to school for like the photography and stuff, and I can't do it. I can't stay focused long enough to even get through like I said, a paragraph sometimes. And photography is one of my greatest interests, and if it comes to book learning, it's not there at all. I can't do it.
That's interesting. That's quite interesting you say that, because one of the things they do say that's being sort of posted around a lot is that you can tend to hyper focus on things that you're really interested in. And I'm very much like you. I went into fitness when I was younger and started working in a gym, and I found doing all that really easy. Picked up the words I could, anatomy and physiology. It was like it was my calling. For some reason, I could retain all this information, all these long Greek and Latin words, for parts of the body, and it was just simple. Now that time is gone now, and I'm not that interested in it. I'm not in that field anymore. But my big interest, like you, as you know, is photography. However, I feel like I've got a bigger passion for photography than I did with fitness. But I can't read a photography book. I can't. The pictures are nice. I look at a few things, but I can't. So I guess it's not always the things that you are interested in. I wish they were, because I would love to study photography, but it's, again, no point.
Yeah.
No.
I just even I find with with the camera itself, I find that if I'm not doing it regularly, I can forget what I'm doing. Like I have to make sure I'm doing it regularly, or it just goes out of my head. Like there was just recently, there's been a lot of the Northern Lights showing up, and I went out to try and capture the Northern Lights, and I completely gapped on it. Like I was so frustrated with myself because I couldn't figure it out. And when I got home the next day, I got thinking about it, and I was like, ugh. Like I knew what I should have done, but in the moment, I completely gapped. Like it was just gone.
Yeah. Do you in that moment in time, do you find anything else is going on? Do you feel, be it anxiety sort of creeping in? And yeah, you do.
Panicky, frustration. Yeah. Feeling stupid.
It can be. It can be like that. It really can. Any sort of, I guess, any sort of struggle, be it neurodiversity or not, when it is a struggle, it can make you. Sometimes the struggle isn't the biggest issue; it's how it makes you feel becomes the biggest issue. Mm-hmm. You know, like the reading a book. I don't try. Well, I'm trying now because I'm on medication. So, but you know, but yeah, I stopped trying. So, but I don't want to stop photography, and either should you, because you're too good.
Thank you. I'm only what I am because of you, though. I always go to you when I have trouble.
That's okay. We're always happy to help. Always happy to help, because it's one of your, I guess, your outlets. It's your calming place. You go to your calming place by a river. By the lock.
It's usually a pond, yes, but
pond, yeah. It's well, your pond's a little bit different from our ponds. It's not a massive lake, okay, for us. But yeah, finding your place and then doing the photography, it, I guess, helps to.
It's very therapeutic for me, and it has been for many years. I think I started probably around 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
And that was my that was after an injury. Actually, I had my back injury, and I needed something else to focus on. And so I took up the camera, and I had to do it manually. Like I had to do it, figure it all out on my own through just doing, and messaging you. Because I cannot read a book. I cannot do the YouTube video thing. I can't figure things out like that. I have to be hands-on to do it. And it's frustrating, but it seems to be what sticks more.
Yeah, I'm totally the same. I learn by doing.
Yeah.
Always learn by doing. I can very quickly forget if I'm not doing. But yeah, it's all about the doing. If someone's going to show me something, okay, you make me do it and tell me all about it. So yeah, I don't know if that is a typical ADHD thing, learn by doing, or a neurotypical thing, or not. I haven't got a clue. But it's interesting that, again, I'm not the only person. So that is nice.
Yeah, it's good to have similarities. I feel like somebody else isn't or is having the same struggles or whatever.
Yeah, it is, because you do feel very lonely. And this is the reason why I'm doing the podcast, because I want to reach out, I want to chat, I want to relate to other people and find my I don't know what you call it, just people that I can relate to, really find my crowd. And I've spent so long not fitting in.
I hear you. I have socially isolated myself. I don't hang around with anybody. I don't spend time with anybody. I'm the same. Yeah. My friends are mostly like you, like they're in another country.
Yeah, I guess it's easy like that, to be fair. I find the online thing or the text thing or whatever just so much easier to do, but face to face is really quite hard. So I appreciate on both. Right now we're like, yes, please let this stop. But
I struggle with emotion a lot, so I think that's part of it. Like, I can get very emotional over things very easily, so I think that's another reason why I do isolate, is that I can keep that emotional thing a little bit more contained. So,
okay. So how in what way do you get emotional?
Like, I can get like overwhelmed very easy. I can get sad quick. Like, I deal with depression and anxiety, so they all become very overwhelming sometimes when you're, especially in crowds of people or groups of people. I find it easier to be alone in my truck, or, like you said, texting or messaging. It's not as consuming, or not consuming, I guess, but overwhelming and a lot less stressful for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. Excuse me. Because it just feels easier or better to do the things that, I guess, don't stress your mind so much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a self kind of preservation thing.
Absolutely. The stress really, I find, intensifies the other things, like the brain fog and the loss of words for me. Like, if I get too stressed out over things, the things become a lot more pronounced. So
this is like talking to myself, to be honest with you. It's just quite weird. I mean, I know we've chatted before, but we haven't probably, well, because it's been by text message or whatever, it's never been this detailed, I guess. So, but yeah, that is me. When you listen to my podcast, I don't generally talk quickly. I do find it, all the other podcasts that I've listened to and the YouTube stuff that I've seen about ADHD, everyone seems to be talking really quickly. I'm like, okay, but that's not me. I can't. The connection isn't there. I don't know what it is. My brain's working, but it's like there's too many things going around that either I can't pick the word out properly because there's too much, interference, or I'm just going in and out of focus in my head, but my mouth is moving, trying to say this on the same topic, but my head's going off and come back again. So I'm like, yeah.
I just completely lose words. Like, it can be a very simple word. If I'm frustrated or really nervous or stressed out, I could be mid-sentence and just completely lose the words. Like, I know what I want to say in my brain, but my mouth and my brain cannot commute together. Like, they're just not in cahoots at all.
I get that. I get that, and it's hard to then explain to other people about it, because in your head, well, in my head, it's such a silly thing. It's such a minor little thing that you should be able to do. Mm-hmm. And you've been able to do many, many times before, but you just can't think of that word, or you just can't, concentrate on a certain thing. It's just, but explaining it when you haven't got the information about what's going on, it's really, really difficult. And I didn't for up until recently. I just kept it all in. I mean, you mentioned
part of the reason I isolate, so you don't have to explain it.
Yeah, it's difficult, and it's difficult for a lot of people, and it's just trying to. I just wish people would, like we're doing now, talk more, but talk about it more as opposed to, I guess, just watching clips and things like that, having a conversation and putting things, I guess, into perspective. Not taken out of context or anything like that, because I'd hate anyone to be watching or listening and thinking, I do that, I must have ADHD. I wouldn't want that at all, because there's so many reasons why your memory, working memory isn't great. while you forget words, and then the anxiety and the depression as well. There's so many reasons, and obviously, as we know, the only way you're going to be guaranteed, well, for sure, if you've got it, is if you get assessed and everything, and diagnosed. So with that though, do you know what the process is for you? So if you were in a position that you could go and speak to someone to get assessed and diagnosed, do you know what you would do?
To get diagnosed?
Yes.
Well, here, technically, I have to speak to my primary physician, and then she would refer me either to a neurologist or, well, a neurologist and a therapist to discuss the possibilities. I've also, right now, because of all my other issues, they plan on doing a couple MRIs of my brain and stuff too. So all that stuff will be going to the neurologist when I get to see the neurologist as well.
Okay. And is there a waiting list for that at all?
That very long waiting list. In the beginning of COVID, I talked to my doctor about seeing a neurologist. And at that point, because of COVID and everything, it was delayed he said, probably about 3 years. Now, I spoke to my new primary care back in January. She tried to arrange an appointment then, and at that point, it was still 12 months. So right now, I'm supposed to have an appointment in December, but it's going to depend on their workload, whether or not they can fit me in or not. So,
okay. Oh, okay, that's interesting, because I mean, over here, I guess, as a rule, people don't know where to go, how to start it all off. Because with our GPs and everything over here, you know, we all know that if you're feeling ill, poorly, general aches and pains, you go to see your GP, you know, your family doctor. But if you're in a bad way, you know, you go to the hospital. But when it comes to what's going on in the head, you know, you don't really know over here where to go, what your first step is. And it comes down to, you know, you have to talk to friends or family and hopefully find someone who's done the same thing, or research, you know. And it is bizarre over here. And the waiting lists, I can honestly say though, the waiting list over here, with the NHS, well, depending where you are in the country, it could be 4-5 years.
That's awful.
That's yeah. If you go private, it's a lot quicker, obviously. But with the NHS, it can be a really long process. And it's a shame that, you know, more people don't know what to do. It sounds like, you know, you're sort of clued up on where to go, and unfortunately over here we don't really have that. You know, but
well, here just about everything, like no matter what it is, you generally go to your general practitioner first, and then they will either send a referral to specialists if they figure that that's what's needed. I'm not sure if you can access like a therapist on your own or not here. I know that that's generally the path that they want us to take, is to go through our family doctor, or like with me, it's a nurse practitioner. You usually go through them, and then they will send a referral to get you in. But
okay, interesting. It's interesting how the different countries, the processes are all put in, and how they differ. But again, we've all got the same issues. It doesn't happen quick enough.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately is the problem. So.
Well, yeah, I'll be 50 in February, and this is just something now that is starting to being looked into. Like it's just, they don't seem to focus on things as much unless you really push for it. You know, they can know everything that's going on, but they don't suggest anything unless you push, you know, continue to push for yourself and stuff. So
but no, I totally agree. It's like even with my sons are neurodiverse as well, and that was a long journey. And that was a lot of shouting and no, you will listen, and a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls to get to where we are, and we still haven't finished yet. And it's just, it shouldn't be this hard. It really shouldn't be this hard. And I'm only on this journey for myself because of the journey I was in with our son. But it's hard going, and people just struggle, and it's a shame to see pretty much everyone I'm going to speak to, or who's messaged me or anything like that, are sharing the same struggles. I mean, it proves that, we're not alone, although it really does feel like it. But we're not, and other people have got the same, being neurodiverse or having ADHD or being autistic. Yes, it does help. So it gives you a focus and a direction to go to get the right sort of support. But at the end of the day, even if it isn't, you still got those hurdles that you have to deal with every single day. They're not going to go away just because of the diagnosis or not diagnosed. They're still there, and you still have to deal with it. And again, you're still not the only one.
I find with myself, the diagnosis itself makes things more, not that it makes things more real, but it makes things in my own brain that because for years the doctors just kind of blow you off. Like, you can bring up different things and they just kind of pass it off. Like with the fibromyalgia I was just diagnosed with, my last doctor just said he didn't like putting labels on people, and he refused to diagnose. So I find with a diagnosis, it makes it more for me that I'm not making things up in my head. I'm not making, it is a real thing, and it's real, the issues I'm having. So
absolutely. And you got to shout. You've got to shout, just like you shout for your kids. You make people listen for your kids. You've got to do it yourself as well. Absolutely, make people listen. Doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. You just want answers. Whatever the answers are, as long as they're the correct answer, and you've got a way to then get support and help and make life easier for yourself, brilliant.
It gives you a definitive pathway of where you can head. Like when I find with me not knowing, just not knowing what is wrong, and not knowing, you're just always in limbo, right? So if you've got a diagnosis, at least then you have an aim where you can start focusing what you're going to be doing to help yourself, right? So that's where I am with my current diagnosis, but that's where I plan on going with the ADHD or whatever it turns out to be, is to try and be able to focus my anxieties and my depression more, because I think because of not knowing, those things are worse.
Yeah.
So I find once I know, then I can calm those things down, and I can focus more on what I need to do. So if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And I know you say the anxiety and depression, and likewise myself and a lot of people who've been diagnosed, they have the comorbidities. That's the one. And depression, anxiety is, two of those, and I have the same. And I thought most of the stuff comes from the depression and the anxiety, purely from those. But now I've been diagnosed, and I chose to go down the medication route and got the medication right. I'm finding now that I'm not as depressed as I was. I've been on antidepressants. I'm still on them, and they took and made it a little bit easier for myself. However, they weren't brilliant. But the medication for the ADHD, I just don't feel depressed. I'm not as anxious anymore, although that's still there, but it's definitely calmed down. So it's amazing how, if it is linked in, you sort out the root cause, and it kind of sorts out the other things as well. So
Yeah.
I'm doing all these hand movements, but you can't see my hands moving. But sorry, here they are.
I'm French Canadian, so my hands are going too. You just can't see them either.
Well, April, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you, and thank you for coming on and helping me get this, I guess, video aspect of the podcast up and running. I know it's been hell for both of us, but thank you for grinning and bearing. And
you're actually quite easy to talk to, so it's not hard.
Bless you. Likewise. And I hope we can obviously maybe join again on a podcast, have a chat again. That would be great. But for now, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you are watching this. And don't forget, you're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you.